Do you know that the warship, known as New Generation Aircraft Carrier, PANG, is scheduled to replace the current aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, of the French Navy by 2038? Yes, France has shocked the world with its new gigantic nuclear-powered supercarrier. The forthcoming French aircraft carrier will be bigger and will have a future marine variant of the currently underway Future Combat Air System, as well as an electromagnetic catapult system for launching Rafale fighter fighters at Sears. This new carrier is scheduled to enter service in 2038, the year Charles de Gaulle is expected to retire, with construction expected to start in 2025. The aircraft launch system from General Atomics, which is presently being installed on aircraft carriers of the Gerald R Ford class of the U.S. Navy, is expected to be employed by this ship. France claimed that it decided to adopt a catapult launch concept because it would enable its future aircraft carrier to launch a wider range of aircraft, including drones, the FCA's fighter, and the Northrop Grumman E-2D Advanced Hawkeye. During a speech at the Framatome in Le Creusot on the value of nuclear energy to France, the president claimed that nuclear power was essential to France's strategic future. Also, a new fleet of nuclear submarines of the Suffren class is being built by the nation. The choice to create a nuclear-powered carrier, according to Florence Parly, France's Minister of Defense, would provide operational independence and support the preservation of skills in the country's nuclear industry. The future ship is anticipated to be 300 meters long and weigh 75,000 tons, 20 meters longer than the UK's new Queen Elizabeth-class carriers, which launch via ski jumps rather than catapults. The ship would have 2,000 sailors on board and be able to reach a top speed of 27 knots, according to the French Defense Ministry. An expected pair of K-22 boiler rooms will power the ship. The K-22 is a modification of the K-15 boiler rooms used on Charles de Gaulle and is anticipated to produce 220 megawatts of energy. The FCAS, which is being developed jointly by France and Germany, will be able to transport 30 maritime variations. Germany's Typhoons and France's Rafales will be replaced by the FCAS. It will launch in 2036 and undergo 2 years of sea trials before replacing the Charles de Gaulle entirely. It is anticipated that further construction of the ship and boiler rooms will cost about $948 million. This money will cover the continuation of the program's development phase before the ship is ordered and construction work begins in 2025. Although the French Defense Ministry has stated that the program's cost will be in the billions, France has not provided an official estimate. The company that built the Charles de Gaulle Naval Group said it would participate in the project along with partners Saint-Nazaire Shipyard, Chantiers de l'Atlantique, nuclear reactor designer and maintainer Technic Atome, and aircraft manufacturer Dassault Aviation. Naval Group swiftly welcomed Macron's decision to formally launch the study for the next-generation carrier. This initiative will ensure the continuity of skills during the current health and economic crisis, while also assisting in the development of jobs in the defense industrial and technological base. The best naval systems will be available to the French Navy through the Naval Group, its partners, and its complete ecosystem. The organization also worked on the carriers Clemenceau and Foch, who served before Charles de Gaulle. Furthermore, this project will allow for the development of innovation in the sectors of propulsion and high-value military systems, sustaining France's technological leadership and its position as a major geostrategic player. Starting construction on the largest warship France has ever constructed is an enormous source of pride for the Naval Group. Comparing the current renderings to earlier ones from the Naval Group, and the French Ministry of Armed Forces in 2020 reveals several significant design modifications for PANG, including a modified island design, improvements to the flight deck, and adjustments to the different sponsons on either side of the ship. Most significantly, the carrier's island appears to have changed in size and shape, going from having a somewhat oval shape to having a more boxy, squared-off configuration. Notable changes include the placement and arrangement of the island's domes, as well as the way the windows are arranged. The 4 Seafire radar panels that were first featured in the 2020 renderings are still present, but the island's original cone top has been changed to one that prominently displays satellite communication domes. When contrasting the Naval Group's upgraded vessel model with an earlier version that was presented to President Macron in December 2020, the evolution of the vessel's main island may be observed much more obviously. The space behind PA Island NGs has also been expanded to include an area for helicopter takeoff and landing as well as an area for aircraft maintenance. There are additional differences between the original and modified ideas in the positioning of numerous sponsons or side projections, which serve as utility extensions for the deployment of sensors and weapons among other applications. Naval Group's earlier rendering of the ship depicts 2 protruding sponsons that appear to support Rheinmetall Oerlikon Millennium Gun close-in weapon systems, as well as other radomes as they extend toward the vessel's bow. However, in the revised design, these sponsons have been moved, and the close-range weapon systems have been moved backwards. It's also important to note that the new graphics and model provide a clearer idea of the potential number of aircraft the carrier may hold in parked positions on her deck. In the earlier 2020 renderings, 2 distinct concepts depict the carrier's right-hand edge accommodating either 10 or 8 aircraft parking spots in front of the island. For now, at least Naval Group has decided on a total of 8 parking places on that side. This is shown by the 2022 renderings and model, which both show the carrier's right-hand edge hosting 8 parking spaces. The flight deck's general shape has also been slightly modified. This adjustment was made, according to Naval News' Xavier Vavasseur, to allow for the potential installation of a 3rd electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALS, on the carrier. A crew of about 2,000 personnel is projected for PANG. Some of the crew will be aircraft engineers. This is so that the French Navy can execute the sorts of repairs that typically would be done by the manufacturer on board. Approximately 30 new generation fighters, NGF, and Dassault Rafale N aircraft will be serviced by PA Aircraft NG's engineers, according to the most recent data. Additionally, E-2D Advanced Hawkeyes and some additional unmanned aircraft will be launched by the ship. If the carrier's program timeline is any indication, other modifications to PA design NGs might likely be made over the following few years, with a chance that they'll also be implemented in the long run. The preliminary design studies phase for the carrier is not expected to be completed before the first quarter of 2023. De Saint-Julien also asserts that PA design NGs won't be improved until 2025. When activated, the decision to begin the development and production phase is expected to be made in late 2025 or early 2026. This phase will last from 2026 to 2036. De Saint-Julien also claims that the ultimate design will be able to support later developed technology. It will be built in a way that allows for gradual modernization and the development of the combat system. All right, guys, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button as well.